Hello again, guys. We are back in to the groove. So we got the paint. We got the legs all painted and all done. So they're ready to install into the body. Before we do any other wiring inside the skin, I like to glue these things back inside the skin because I like to bring the whole skin back into normal shape before we proceed for mounting. So I got the skin all washed and everything. And if you remember, we just skinned around the legs and pulled the feet out. So we just find those holes, which is at the bottom of the drumstick, and we slowly push our leg wire into that hole so it shows up inside the skin. And all you have to do is just make sure your skin is not twisted around the wrong way. So basically, you glue the bird feet in the right position so it's not twisted, or you don't glue the back to the front and the front to the back. You just make sure about that. Just use your tweezer and slowly pull that skin around that area. If you remember, we built up that basically leg just where that skin is going to be glued. We built it up with crazy glue. Now we're going to again use the same crazy glue to glue that skin all around that leg. I like to pour some of my crazy glue on top of a glass jar or this plastic lid or whatnot, and then pick up a little bit with my needle or with the tip of my tool and apply it in the area that I want to apply. And now it's around the leg, so I apply a little bit around there. You don't need a lot, you just need a little bit. In fact, crazy glue or super glue doesn't work very well if you put too much. You just have to basically put a little bit in there and just press hard on it, and then it works like very good. And the glue I'm using, guys, is called Gorilla. It's the brand Gorilla. It has worked very well for me. I don't know why some people don't like them, but I do. You can use any kind of super glue that works for you. I mean, it doesn't matter. We're not attached to one or two products. Anything that works. So anyway, we're going to install the second leg here. Slowly that wire goes through that drumstick hole, and that's why we don't build the drumstick right now, otherwise we would have not been able to push it through that little tiny hole at the bottom of the, like basically at the heel of the bird. So this is a really good method, guys. If you want to get rid of your painting before you start mounting, the benefit of this system is that you don't have to deal with airbrush or worrying about overspray on the feathers after the work is done. A little bit of the glue work and it's done. The feet are already finished. The only trick with this is if you want to have a standing mount, that can get tricky because you have to know exactly the positioning of your feet and exactly if it's going to be on a perch or whatnot. You have to know exactly how the bird is going to be posed so you can dry those feet that way. Otherwise, you're going to run into problems. Flying mounts, start with flying mounts because flying mounts are quite easy. Like usually the position or the anatomy of the legs are quite obvious. You know what they're going to look like. They're either fully tucked in underneath the tail if they're in full flight, or they're kind of like hanging and dangling if they're coming into land or just flying over a swamp or something like that. Anyway, we got some saran wrap wrapped around our neck to make it slippery to push through the skin. As you can see, as soon as we're through, I push the wire out all the way so I have enough wire to work and attach my skull or plastic head. So I push the wire right through the skull, through the first hole, and make a U-bend and basically tap it into the second hole that we've made. And from the top we have routed out or carved out and countersink the wire, and I use a little bit of super glue from the top, and once it sets I also use hot glue to glue everything together, like I mean the head and the neck. Make sure when you're using hot glue, don't keep your hot glue extremely hot while you're attaching the foam. It's gonna eat through the foam. So either if you have temperature adjustment on your hot glue, adjust that, or just apply your glue and wait just a little bit. So for example, if it's 10 out of 10 in terms of heat, it drops down to 7. So it's still good enough to fuse to the foam, but not too hot to make it all melt away. Now I apply a little bit more clay around the attachment of the head to the neck, just for a smoother transition. And I can also build up a little bit underneath the head too, where that throat area is. Some people like to use silicone or inject it later. A little bit of a clay works good for now. Now we're going to pull the skin slowly over the head and glue the skin right around the beak where we skinned it off originally. Again, just like gluing the feet, you got to take your time and apply a little bit of a glue all around in a fine line around the beak, and slowly press and glue the skin on the resin head. And of course it's best to basically make sure that you're gluing the skin perfectly good exactly where it's supposed to be. So in order to help yourself doing that, you need to find your corners and glue the corners. Like there's one beginning or corner starts underneath the chin, underneath the bill, 2 on the sides, and usually 1 on the forehead. If you glue those points, then you work your way in between the areas, and then you're ensuring yourself that you're not gluing skins a little bit to the areas that are not belonging to, because that can really show later. You don't want that to happen. Right now I'm gluing underneath the chin. There is that V cut exactly right underneath the lower mandible, and slowly I bring my skin over that glued area and place it on there. And now with the use of my spatula, I press it hard down on that line, make sure that it really glues well. Sometimes my finger actually works the best, because the type of pressure that we can point or put down on the skin with our finger, nothing else can do it. It seems like super glue kind of like gets because it's pretty thin by nature. I mean, there are some thicker ones and some gels too, but it seems like it works by pressing hard. It's because it really spreads itself thin, and that's why it works. Because if you put too much, as I said before, it's not going to work as good. So pressing probably make it a little bit even thinner application. So that's why it really sets up fast and good. So now I'm doing on the forehead, on top of the basically upper mandible. And then I move to the sides and finish it off. I'm gonna let you watch it because I'm pretty sure most of you by now know exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna just let you watch and listen to the music. Okay guys, we are going to wire up one wing for you because the other wing is going to be just the same. So to shorten the video and make it not too boring, we're going to show you only one wing. If you remember, this bird was inverted, had inverted wings. I usually don't do this, but I did it on this one. So to show you that there are different ways that you can do the same and achieve the same thing. So anyway, I push the wire all the way to the tip of the wing, and I'm going to tape it up and build up a little bit of a muscle. I'm going to let you watch what I'm doing. A little bit of a muscle just to make sure that the wing has some sort of a mass and flat muscle to it. So when we pull the skin back over the bone, it's not going to be just too empty. So we have something in there. Okay, while you're watching, let me say thank you again for watching this part of the video. This is coming to an end, and in the next video we'll be showing you how to install the basically the body and move on with the mounting. Okay, thanks for watching again. We'll see you tomorrow.